real consequences, potentially deadly consequences. Police say 28-year-old Edgar Madison Welch stormed into the Comet Ping Pong restaurant in D.C. armed with a shotgun. He told police he wanted to, quote, investigate Pizzagate. It's a totally bogus online conspiracy theory that D.C. police confirmed as fictitious. The false news was spread by Michael Flynn Jr., who is the son of Trump's new U.S. National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn Sr. After the incident, Flynn Jr. tweeted this, quote, until Pizzagate is proven to be false, it'll remain a story. The left seems to forget Podesta emails and the many coincidences tied to it. CNN's Joe Johns is following the story. He joins us now live from Washington. Good morning.
Good morning, Carol. You really have to file this under what happens when fake news stories use real names, real places, but false facts. So 28-year-old Edgar Madison Welch came here to this location, Comet Ping Pong, with a rifle, apparently fired it. Police took him into custody. He was charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. No one was injured because the people saw the gun and started running away. When police took him and sat him down and asked him what happened, he said he was here essentially to take a look, to self-investigate, if you will, Pizzagate, which they call a fictitious online conspiracy theory, a theory that involves the restaurant and claims that Hillary Clinton and her campaign manager, John Podesta, were involved in a child sex ring, which all of that certainly is false. Now, as I said, arrested and charged, the investigation continues. It also happens to be something this restaurant and its owner and its employees have been dealing with for weeks and weeks. In fact, there have been death threats. The owner issued a statement just yesterday which says, in part, that they are not going to let this run them out of business. He said, Comet Ping Pong is a beloved institution in Washington. We're heartened by the support and loyalty of our customers and our community and our lifeblood, and we will continue to serve them joyfully for the decades to come and beyond. So the problem, though, with all of this is the fanning the flames of the issue and the false facts that follow. The question really is how long it's going to take before there's enough public information out there and sunshine to put the whole thing to rest. Carol?
All right, Joe Johns reporting live from Washington. Thank you. Good morning, I'm Carol Costello. Thank you so much for joining me. Donald Trump unleashing on China. Where else but on Twitter? Mr. Trump tweeting last night, quote, did China ask us if it was okay to devalue their currency, making it hard for our companies to compete, heavily tax our products going into their country, or to build massive military complex in the middle of the South China Sea? I don't think so. Those tweets coming just 2 days after Mr. Trump's controversial phone call with Taiwan's president. CNN's Alexander Field live in Beijing with China's reaction. Good morning.
Good morning, Carol. This has certainly raised concerns right here in Beijing. Look, President-elect Donald Trump's preferred method of communication, Twitter, is blocked to the public, of course, here in China, but you can count on the fact that leaders, that officials got the message loud and clear. What they did not do was issue an immediate official response to these tweets that the president-elect had put out there. Instead, a spokesperson for the foreign ministry did offer some remarks about those tweets when asked at a regularly scheduled briefing, and I've got to say that the response was measured considering those tweets. Here's part of what he said. He said the economic and trade relationship between China and the United States has been a highly mutually beneficial one, or it wouldn't have developed this far. We don't want to speculate on the motivations behind President-elect Trump and his team's actions, but we will make clear our stance when it comes to policies related to China. The question that's being asked here in Beijing is what exactly will the policies related to China be under the Trump administration? They had all gotten used to hearing the tough talk that President-elect Donald Trump was espousing on the campaign trail. He had taken a hard line against Beijing that was playing well with the base at home domestically. But for the first time, following these tweets, we are seeing that people here in Beijing are taking this a little bit more seriously. There was an op-ed in the Global Times saying that these tweets are generating more worry, more concern, that the Trump administration really would take a tougher economic stance against China. Previously, the same publication, the Global Times, had run other op-eds op-eds in which they offered analysis saying that perhaps President-elect Trump was bluffing on the campaign trail, that certainly he is unpredictable, but they had said that they did not expect that it would be in his interest to overturn international relationships. They believe that he's more of an isolationist, that his focus was at home, and they didn't think he was likely to antagonize China once he got to the White House. These tweets, that phone call with Taiwan, a very controversial phone call, have of course led some in Beijing to perhaps begin to step back, reconsider that, and have a higher level of concern right now, Carol.
All right, Alexandra Field reporting live from Beijing. So this is why Trump's tweets on China matter. China is increasingly aggressive militarily. It's building islands in the South China Sea in disputed waters. And China is basing military systems, military aircraft there on those islands. That's according to U.S. officials. It's already caused conflict with American military aircraft. This is what happened last year. CNN's Jim Sciutto was on board an American plane when China sent out a warning to U.S. personnel.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
Saying Chinese diplomats have been used to American presidential candidates going anti-China on the campaign trail. That's a natural message. It appeals to the base, etc. But once you're elected, as President-elect Donald Trump has been, then you're in a position to actually change policy. So their ears are perking up to these statements now, because in those statements, granted they're coming out on Twitter, they seem to indicate not just a minor tweak in U.S. policy towards China, but a major readjustment, a much more hostile outlook towards China. And let's be clear, China today is, by its own right, increasingly hostile in some ways, building and militarizing those islands that we flew over in the South China Sea, more nationalistic. If there was a time when making antagonistic comments from a U.S. president mattered, it would be right now. And that's why this is extremely concerning.
Here's the thing. Like, Donald Trump ran on Make America Great Again, and he's going to rebuild respect in the world for the United States. He ran on a more muscular foreign policy. So his supporters are asking, why is this bad? We're finally standing up to China, a country that's frankly hurt America right in the economics.
Well, you could say hurt America. The truth is, and I'm not, trust me, I'm not advocating for China or for anything, except that this is a mutual economic relationship, that there's enormous trade in both directions, right? Now, there are trade disputes. There is no question. Currency manipulation is one that the Obama administration complained about for a number of years as well. The question is, in the field of foreign affairs, do tweets of kind of somewhat angry statement going, is that an effective foreign policy? Is that going to move China? Or is it, and this is something you'll hear from Democrat and Republican China diplomats and officials, etc., is this kind of statement going to change China's position towards the U.S. to the positive? That's a question. Or is it going to antagonize further? We'll have to watch it. But in the course of human history, have those kinds of antagonistic statements moved nations that are powerful in their own right and have their own nationalistic axis to grind? That's the question. We'll have to place a diplomatic bet on how that changes things. It might feel good. Might feel good for all involved. Does it change things for the positive? We'll have to watch.
Jim Sciutto, many thanks.
Thank you.
Coming up in the newsroom, a lone holdout and a near mistrial. Will the jury be able to return a verdict in the Walter Scott murder case? That's next.